Welcome back. Let us chit chat about healthy boundaries in this lovely episode and how a self empowered woman knows they're all about direct communication, no projection or triggers. So, I'm a 5D mystic in the Enlightenment Soul Age group, and I'm a functional adult. I have no trauma charges lingering. My 0 1 year old attached panicky and my 3 to 7 shame submissive are uncharged. My flight 11 12 and my fight 14 15 16 freeze of all ages. And I'm attachment trauma informed, but I'm woo-woo pseudoscience lady because, again, mystic I am, and we have channeled guidance at times and a lot more tarot readings, Akashic record readings, a lovely Reiki. We have our universal love transmission sessions for personal development and self-help. I get to bring to you how easy it is to be yourself when you are an inner child. So I never lost my inner child because I got a safe home and I got a twin. So I also learned it's not defective to be different. It is okay to be misunderstood. Perception is not always based on truth. And in fact, when you do not have integration of the brain, your perception is going to be impacted by the trauma charges. Okay, so I don't want to really make it about the psychoeducation or psych education, but I am going to integrate, as always, some of it. So we know how to set boundaries, those of us who are empowered, not by claiming our power back. Those are people who need to first reparent themselves, and with a good therapist, they know how to talk versus use their 3-year-old tone in a way that is not really necessary. Okay, and they will learn about their loving themselves first and healthy self-worth, so they will know their value. Okay, the people that you see canceling and blocking each other, they don't know how to do emotional awareness and accountability and self-regulation in the moment. So when I and you are having a debate, if we're disagreeing, I and you can learn how to stay at ease in our embodied nervous system, because that's how it works when you have integration of the brain capacity. And that's because you're self-aware and you're emotionally aware. So it means you know I'm passionate if I maintain the capacity to speak to you. If I begin to get agitated and you point it out, I'm not calm anymore. So I'm not actually going to maintain my prefrontal cortex. In fact, actually, when you get angry, what happens is cortisol begins to cover your hippocampus. I learned that from one of my lovely NICABM infographics. And I remember stopping to engage in anger at a certain age because I noticed that I'd get fuzzy. And in fact, all I did was, I need to not do this. I'm doing political science. I'm going to debate with people. I need to be able to stay with me. And I already have a bad memory as it is. If I get fuzzy, and when I learned recently, it was about a year and a half or two ago, that anger, again, it brings up cortisol. I was like, okay, so your biochemistry ruled by you. You get to learn left chit chatter, and the right is the emotions that come up. Okay, so you can do hard things. It is not as impossible as it may feel. It's not hard for securely attached, differentiated selves, me, and those of you who are here, to do feelings. But it's hard for the people who have not learned to self-regulate their nervous system and expand their window of welcome to emotions, especially when they're being misunderstood. I, on the other hand, can always keep talking. I'm like the little energizer battery. So disappointment is not the end. There is hope even in the darkest of nights. A self-empowered woman will not have this darkness of night. Yeah, okay, so 4D mystics talk to you about Dark Night of Soul, ego death, and the whole saga with twin flames. They're all people on Elsa's journey, which means they haven't gotten to the end. Oh, I'm the one I've been looking for. So they don't know that their inner child, let me out, okay? When they can reparent that inner child, that's why I get to be myself. I didn't have to reparent myself. So darkest of nights, no. I love life. Jesus, thank you. Jesus is the man of my life because he shared with me, forgive them for they do not know, turn the other cheek, don't cast a stone, blessed are those who believe without seeing. I'm raised with Christianity, Catholicism. God told me, don't be envious, don't be jealous. Okay, check. I made you the way I want you to be made. Don't be envious, don't be jealous. Do you know what attachment, envy, and jealousy is? It's when a person feels here that they're not going to stick around and they're going to get cut out of the herd. An evolutionary psychologist, I think, or anthropology psychologist, one of the two, from one of my NICABM courses, explained how it's because way back when our herd, when we get kicked out, lions are going to eat you, bears are going to eat you. Okay, so I'm just saying, people don't get educated, and so then they go around with a lot of other stuff And so the disappointment, oh, they broke my heart. Now I won't ever be able to move forward. Their 1-year-old is right here. They could work with it. But again, if you need good therapy, EMDR, child parts work, and somatics, you reparent yourself. Once you're reparented, you know how to not ruminate. Because this, be quiet, okay, I got some stuff. What am I going to do with this? I'm going to go do something that I have pleasure in. Not fucking, not drinking, not drugging, not the self-soothing. No, not those. No, something you savor, and that's different. And why is it different? Because the difference is, what do I enjoy in life? And you're actually creating what is called, I'm expanding my window of tolerance, because you're taking ownership of the emotion that's coming up. You're not saying, I don't want to do personal development, okay? So you're not saying, life's so disappointing, people are so disappointing. The misanthropists, they hate, dislike, and distrust humans. And yet, our lovely Jesus was welcomed with mistrust, disbelief, fear, and non-acceptance. So the 5D collective, we are Christ consciousness. We're also the spirituality. We move beyond the solo self. And we're not spirituality bypassers. Spirituality and humanity, one and in the same. Science and spirituality, one and in the same. They speak and inform you and educate you of different things. If you have an independent brain, so your implicit bias, explicit bias, political, religious, whatever it is that your opinion is, whatever your belief, however you want to organize that. This is, you got your stuff, and then there's other stuff. None of these are truths, which is why nobody's going to get pissy in their pants if they're emotionally and mentally mature, because it's like, okay, I'm having an interaction. What is important? Well, we're going to go vote. That's what's important, right? We're going to decide things. So again, I do personal development, self-help. I'm not going to get into that other conversation, but what I do know is that people project their own unfinished business and their own trust breaks. So misanthropists, I hate humans, I dislike humans, I hate men. The other one, what are they? There's another word for that one. I didn't even know that existed, but it exists. It exists. Let's see my lovely notes. Let's see, I'm not good with any of these words. There are misandronists, so they hate men. And then we have misogynists, and they hate women, and there's sexism now. That's what it involves. And misogamists, again, people who hate, avoid, and oppose marriage. So what I see when I see trending topics are people that aren't trying to support individuals to understand healthy boundaries. It's when I and you can talk. If you're projecting or triggered, I will know with your trigger how to handle your projection, because I'm not going to disconnect. I will not create detachment in my nervous system where I separate myself from you and isolate. I will not dehumanize you and call you an energy vampire, dark aura, or some asshole or something like that. I will not enter delusion, disconnect from the truth completely. I will not demoralize the situation. I will not divide. I will not destruct. I will not move away from continuing to engage in the conversation, because I will not have been disappointed because you and I have different ways of thinking, and I will not be upset that I am being misunderstood, because I have what's called self-confidence. Self-confidence means I'm not superior, inferior. I'm a 1-year-old that doesn't need to attach to you. I have one secure attachment figure. I don't need to attach to that, because I'm a whole 3-year-old heart. I think differentiation and feel my own way. So when I get told you cannot feel or think that way, what? I just told you what I'm feeling and thinking. No, you can't. You can't do that. Everybody else, I don't understand. You're confusing me. I learned the right silence as a kid, because I didn't understand when they'd say, be yourself, and then they'd come and correct you. It's like, you just told me to be myself. I got told by God I'm the way I'm supposed to be. You're confusing me. So I didn't make any decisions. No, I sat down and I left it alone, and then I grew up, and here you go. Okay, so a woman, I can tell you that when women come to me with their projection and they're making it seem like a man did something that they shouldn't have, so I know what you shouldn't do. Don't lift a hand, not man, not woman, not they. I will not create stereotypes or generalizations, because there are people who need a good therapist and they don't go and they lift still their hands. I will not create stereotypes or generalizations, because we have human beings who cannot keep it together, and they have nervous breakdowns, they take things out of context, stuff. I will not be judging human species because they have unresolved trauma. I will be actually observing those who want to tell me that they support change, and then they're yelling at somebody else because what I know, they don't understand what they're still being. A fear-mongered child who got yelled at somehow, some way, and thinks that now it's okay to do dysfunctional, dysregulated projection of a nervous system. So you didn't heal your inner child. You're not in the power of flow, no matter how much yoga you may do or how much you may think you're a genius. And you're not the joy for life because your inner child ain't nowhere to be found. Okay, so we're all imperfect, we're all flawed. Direct communication is very straightforward. When I meet women, men, I don't know any days personally, but when I meet any person, I have learned the right silence because I'm enjoying myself, and your contribution to the world, well, thank you, Sadhguru, it's you. How you live, how joyful you are, everything has an impact. And what I have also learned, thank you, Albert Einstein, stay away from negative people. They have a problem for every solution. What frustrates me the most is when I see human beings who are not in any way, shape, or form educated spread rumors like yoga bringing demon out of you when it don't, and not getting educated. Now, I don't know a lot of things. That's why I'm woo-woo pseudoscience. Also, because again, as a mystic, I will be considered woo-woo by the sciences and the scientific human beings out there, which I'm okay with because I respect academia, because I know it empowers us. Like, thank you, Patrick McNamara, who's proven, and he will keep proving it, there's no demon that possesses a human being when they have nightmare after nightmare after nightmare. And as a mystic, the other part that is very much something that I find, I don't want to use words, because see, I do understand what I learned from the attachment trauma information, and so the past always comes with you. So as long as we have transgenerational trauma, and as long as we have broken-hearted children inside the bodies of people, we will only know of people who think, you have laundry to do, you can't be enlightened. Yes, I can be enlightened. Thank you, Sadhguru, for existing, because really, you are so amazing. If only he would get psych-educated, he would be able to say so much more. But that's where I come in, the human translator. I can support you, Sadhguru. The only doorway for you to know life is yourself. Keep it open. Yourself, like Patrick Tiahan, childhood trauma survivor, healed and healing, therapist, shares he found his true self once he reparented himself. Because now he knows how not to ruminate for one and also project for two, but really he found his kindness, and he found a way to trust in humanity and not project his own household stuff upon other people, and how not to date people that treated him or treat him and to see his child grow in a child-centric environment. So when people actually do work with their selves, they will know not only Sadhguru and yoga and spirituality, which is the way of life beyond the solo self, and spiritual bypassers, 4D 3D is for reasons, is that the state of consciousness is not just a state of consciousness. I don't hang out with ignorant human beings. I might hang out with people who have the generalizations and stereotypes, so societal and relationship, soul age group people. But I don't hang out with the people who actually have need of more of those of us who want to go places to inform and share and talk, and then we understand and respect cultures and we respect differences. And I will actually share something from my school that I did for my master's program, and that's the example I'm going to use. So for one, an empowered woman knows that empowered men exist, and they're not the ones who think that one organ rules them. They're not the ones who are supporting stereotypes, not even close. And empowered women will not project their low self-esteem. They don't have it. Okay, so for one, when I have women or men that are bringing to me their teenager, the women will act like the squirrel from Cusco Land. The men will act like Cusco. I'm Pacha, and in all cases, I'm not going to really want to engage with any of it because it's boring, it's limited, and they don't go get good therapy. So I'm not going to count, not even a little bit, because they're not taking their emotions and saying, hey, let me work with my heart and become a human being. But what I was very disappointed in, and to this day I am, and I choose my lovely right to be silent on it until I'm ready to express it the way I want to. I was in a seated environment. It was a bunch of us, international relations and diplomacy, and all different countries, all different places. As across my table, there's a couple of people or more that are looking at us. They're from, I believe at the time we could say developing countries. I forget if that's changed or not. And they looked, one person in particular, one of my classmates, they weren't directing it at me, but they said, you come to our countries and you don't understand that you have our families starving to death. It was something like this. The pure sadness, the pure despair. Like, this is the moment where I realized that this side of the table, which was the so-called developed or whatever. I mean, again, I don't remember how we've worked through those wordings, but my point is, it wasn't that. It was realizing the hypocrisy of one group of people not realizing what you're bringing to another group of people. So to me, if I and you are interacting social time, I'm having a good time. I don't really anything personal development. I support people who want to be whole 3-year-old hearts, because that's the beauty of being consciousness. I'm thinking of something like what I saw at school, and then I'm looking out there at the globe and I'm like, okay, it's not about conspiracies. This is actively 7 to 14 charming who pull wool over the eye of all the childhood trauma survivors because they haven't gotten reparented. For my mystics, the same thing goes for the ones who say, come to me, I'm a shaman, don't go to therapy. No, 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 no. That's not how this works. Science is spirituality, one and the same. There ain't no magic wand. And it's not because of not believing. I grew up with God. God is the essence of love and life in my book. In believing, if you're going to believe with a book in your face, well, you're really blinded. So again, for some people, I don't feel that they are going to be joining the expanded conversations, but obviously I'm here for the ones who want to have not only self-empowered women and direct communication, but also men and women and humanity. So healthy boundaries, it's all possible. And there's a bunch of beautiful people that are continuing their research. That's why I'm the pseudoscience lady again. It's not to disrespect what we do here, it's to respect what others do. And also it's conciliancy, but still, I know very well how the teenagers work with their little words. So the people with sticks up their asses, yeah, I used to be quote unquote one of them, but really it's because I was a kid. As I got older, I learned the gray area, because that's what it is to become flexible, adaptive, coherent, energized, stable. You grow up emotionally, because mentally you're also grown up though, because you're a 3-year-old, so mine knows how to share a floor. I got lucky, I got a twin, so I learned how to fight like a little cat and dog all the time, all the time, all the time. No feelings are hard. No boundaries are like, stop, no more talking to each other. Oh no, you should see us when we're together. We still have the same dynamic. It's not even funny. And neither of us is disappointed. We love each other to death. And again, we actually know that even if we have different ways, we're not really misunderstanding. It is never truly the end. Beloved, in this, everything will be okay. And that is one of those things. Everything's going to be all right. Everything's going to be all right. That's what the nervous system of a person wants. It's this. But for some people, this is very triggering because they didn't get this. They were frightened and in a frightening environment in their first year. So my heart breaks for people who can get supported and they don't go to good therapy because of the lack of awareness, not because they cannot, because of access. There are so many people that I learn with that will offer services for free for serious people. I will offer, and I'm not the therapist though, but I will be there for people who are serious about getting whole, because it is possible. And thank you, Daniel Siegel, Bezel Vanderkolk, Stephen Porges, Peter Levine, Julianne, Janina Fisher. There's so many names, and ICBM, Somatopia. My educational courses where I can share with you all things that I've been sharing in the first place, but more important, conversations. And yeah, healthy boundaries. It's not the cancel culture, not even close. So on that note, thank you for stopping by. If you have any questions, let me know. There's Ask Maria Opinionated columnist for now only on the audio. You can find IHP on a bunch of different platforms. Once we get to 1K on YouTube, we'll get the membership. That'll be your first option. And then there's obviously the Inner Growth Mindset courses. The main modules are on the website. And ask me. I don't like to do any of this intro and not intro stuff, but a little bit of it just in case you're curious. And again, thanks for stopping by.